Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our third live series in this latest three-part vlog series on wellness and Aelius LED and everything that has to do with the cannabis and the produce world, and how we can inform you, our Aelius fam and future family members on what is up and coming. And right now we do have a guest coming in. It's Johnny B. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about what we've been up to here at Aelius LED on our new warehouse, and we're finally getting our systems and processes in place. We've been getting a lot of questions about Black Friday deals. This is a really big deal now over the past few years as far as savings and new products and whatnot. So while our products are, I always tell people, our products are always priced at the right price for you. So we don't really have any Black Friday sales per se, but we do have a couple new products coming out. We're just waiting for certification here in North America. They are ready to go over in Europe and some of the other countries, but for North America here, what we're doing is we've been trialing out a new clone light bar, and some of you already have those trial bars out for clones. We also have a couple for produce as well too, depending on the spectrum you want. But the clone light bars are 20 watts. They're eventually going to be on the website as our Aelius 20-watt bar, and they're going to be there for propagation and cloning. We wanted to basically, we were listening to our customers, right? Because we already have the veg, the flower stage, and we've been trying to develop this new clone light bar for the last little while, because what ends up happening, we want to put our arms around everybody, right? We want from start to finish. So this new clone light bar has been doing really well compared to some of the other competitors. So we're seeing roots in 7 to 10 days. Is that, yeah, so we have a couple growers here as well too. So the roots are in 7 to 10 days. And at the end of the day, the price is going to be right as well too, because most of these people that are getting these clone bars aren't just getting the clone bars, so we can put them together as a package deal. Especially for the commercial operations that need all three, and a lot of them are in 3 different rooms. So that one's been good. We also have another 880 watt light that we are coming out as well. That is close to being certified. Again, trials have been awesome, and we're excited to bring that one to fruition as well too. This 880 watt light is going to be the most powerful bar we've had. Spectrum is going to be the same. So as far as the Aelius Reds and the Matrix Red, spectrum will be similar. We even touched up a little bit of the far red, the 730 nanometer. And at the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is that this 880 watt model is going to be great for the greenhouse style or your higher ceilings, because the penetration is going to be that much deeper. There's 5,040 diodes in this thing. I'll see if I can lift this thing up myself. Remember, I'm an office guy. So here's what it's going to look like, right? I don't know if you can see that there, but there's a lot of diodes in there. You can see the far red diodes. You can see all the white diodes and the blue diodes. They're all in there as well too. The driver is going to be mounted right on top of this unit. Okay, so it is a heavier unit, right? So it is mostly for commercial. You're not going to put this in a tent. You're not going to put this in your basement. This is for commercial use only. But the price compared to the Aelius Red are going to be really comparable, whether it's in Canadian dollars or US dollars. This thing is going to fit your budget, and it'll also fit the financing program as well too. So those are the 2 exciting things that we have coming to fruition here now for Black Friday. Like I said, maybe not so many other deals per se, but we do have new products, right? And I'm now going to bring in what you guys are probably here for, John Berfelo. Come on in, Johnny. Johnny was just at Lift & Co, right?
I was just at Lift & Co.
Johnny was at Lift & Co, and he was just doing a consulting job here in town. Everybody wants a piece of Johnny, right? And I'm glad that he had some time to come in and talk shop. Johnny and Aelius have been talking now for a couple of years, and Johnny's,
It has been an amazing couple of years, really understanding LEDs.
And we gave Johnny this opportunity out there in BC. He said, Johnny, we like your growing style. We heard great things about you. And he was been in LEDs for a long time. So we just connected, gave him some samples, and the rest is history, really. I mean, Johnny's been a great proponent, not only for our company, but for LEDs in general.
The plant. It's so amazing.
Johnny's
It
very
really
passionate
is.
about
It's
the
just
plant.
this
Yes.
plant. It just does us so much, and really understanding and seeing how LEDs have really changed the growing future. And I started saying that at the beginning. We started looking at how we were stuck with the same dual end, HPS metal highlight bulbs for so long, and really seeing the change over the years. I started growing with Spectrum King LEDs in like 2013, 2014, and we came up with. I remember. I had these almost like a round LED light. Len, I showed it to him. He goes, "Oh, that was like 2008." And we used to bolt these things. They were green, this long, and they had these like cob light to it or something. And it was really exploring lighting. I've been growing since I've been 16. I'm 50. So I guess I got a few years.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Hey, I turned 50 there, while I was here. I appreciate that. And went to Lift, had a great time there.
Yeah,
Really
how was it? Lift and Co. was a
I'm going to say,
cannabis
I have
conference
this
that was in
bag right
Toronto.
here. And this bag comes with a bag of chips. And I had my Lift Medtainer with me. So here is the first Lift I went to.
Is that your Medtainer?
Yeah, Medtainer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Bigger Medtainers and stuff like that, and actually, and of course, then I brought all these Medtainers that are full of all this great cannabis that I've been growing with Aelius LEDs,
Okay.
and showing
Well,
and talking about it was
Right,
really
larger Medtainers
impressive.
as well, too.
So every Medtainer, I showed the different strains that had been growing with the LEDs, looking at the matrix reds, and then
The Medtainers. So you might want to explain what a Medtainer is.
Oh. Airtight, watertight storage container, built-in grinder. 100% airtight, watertight, smell-proof. For me, was medicine on the go the green way. It holds those terps, makes it fresh. But in here, it's just there's nothing really in here.
Oh, yeah.
But you can smell the old smell.
Wow.
Wow. See how
potent.
It is, and that's grown with, of course, LEDs. And we started looking at that because the LEDs were really about the terpenes, and we're taking a look at how things were happening. And I started seeing the difference. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here now, so
yeah. Usually Johnny's also got his own show on YouTube. And how often do you go on?
I used to do a weekly show, and I used to do 3 times a week because, of course, you're growing, innovating, you're learning. Over the years, I've cut down to maybe once a month, every couple of weeks, because now growing, I do 2 crops a year. Purely for my medicine, I grow for my own. That's why I have the different strains for different pains, stuff we talk about. And really understanding the last couple of years in my growing it's been kind of really nice. I had to learn vapor pressure deficit. Wow, VPD. If you're from Vancouver Police Department, that's not the case. And I had to learn PPFD, photosynthetic flux density, and then DLI, daily light intervals, and really taking a look at how LEDs truly were growing my cannabis, because I just used to throw a light in my room. 3 feet away, turn it on, it's good to go, right?
Yeah, you're not the only one.
Yeah, no. Then I got some LEDs from Land, like, check these things out, turn these, they're brighter than I was like, whoa, check them out. And they're killing it. Yeah, week 3. Anybody knows about light stress? Oh. Woo, that's a new one. Let me tell you. I mean, the sun works in so many different ways, and we started learning. And then I had to understand light. I really had to understand light. Like, you go with a meter, and it's like, wow, it's like 2400 ppfd in the summertime. My plants can't handle that. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
they can. And you think they can, but they can for a certain amount of time or a period. I started really understanding how to grow with the LEDs and seeing how the different light recipes were actually affecting the plants and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. And at the end of the day, too, you said the transition between HPS or CMH to LEDs is a
metal
steep
highlight
learning curve.
A ceramic metal highlight came into place. So CMH was that next big one all of a sudden. We went metal highlight, high pressure sodium, dual end Gavitas. I mean, I see some people coming up around the corner here now. Dual end Gavitas. And then the ceramic metal highlight was the next game changer, because all of a sudden I'm going with 315 watts getting the same yields, almost like that we'd get off 1,000 watt. Difference was the THC levels, though, right? So seeing that too.
Okay.
Something we could talk about even with the light recipes and growing with the different light recipes, and I see different spectrums or McAfee curve that I've been growing. I'm seeing higher THC levels. And like I say, with the Matrix Red, with that Pacific light recipe, I think you might have seen some of the COAs that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And I started testing the LEDs and seeing which LEDs were actually producing more, and if this was the case. Well, I'm all hypothesis, some things, but we're seeing some huge differences in the industry.
Yeah, and if you've ever tuned into Johnny's shows as well too, Johnny's not afraid to say when there's mistakes that happen, right? And that's what I think. I think that's why everybody relates. Yeah, that's why people really relate to you, because you're not afraid to say, "Hey, I messed this up, so I'm going to try this." You're not afraid to experiment and see if something went right or wrong.
It's something that we do for the plant. It's what we do every day. I'm curious. I'm more kind of wondering what the hell's going on with it. They got Marcus Gary Richardson jumping over there. Hey, but I'm always curious about how that is, and with the different lights now, it's just scratching the surface.
You're right. We're still in the infancy for the lighting world. 100%. We're always trying to tweak things and trying to mimic that.
One thing Aelius is doing is they are doing that extra edge.
Yeah,
we are tweaking it. We're like what you've allowed me to do with your lights and some of the things that are coming. Like, wow, different lights recipes for different strains. Now, I can so see that for the future. It's ridiculous of what we're seeing.
Yeah,
seeing inside of the garden how plants are actually being able to, well, it's just like heat, temperature, zones, climate control, everything changes in that. If you don't think that light recipe is going to change your plant 100%, we're seeing it.
Yeah, and I didn't realize getting into this industry myself about 3.5 years ago, some of the smartest people in the world were closet growers. They were always underground. You couldn't really see it, but you guys are brilliant. This plant is not just, although it's called a weed, it doesn't grow like a weed. It is very delicate and intricate, and if you mess up something early on in the growing cycle, you're done.
Try this. Try moving like 50 plants and basically 20-gallon pots, and you figure they'll be fine, and you drive them somewhere. Right? Yeah, no, that doesn't work either, because you affected the roots. And then the light, you put too much light in, or it gets cold, and one night it gets in, and it purples out, and this and that, and then we start looking at leaf it
doesn't take that long for something like that to have an effect, a long-term effect.
Long-term effects, just like anything. So really understanding and the healthy plants give you healthy growth, give you better terpenes, better resin,
but
better.
I like what you're mentioning there, because we're getting more and more customers asking about that. They are not moving their plants as much, right? So they're starting to keep their veg and flower in the same room.
Well, that's the best thing about it, is now that we're using the proper light recipes, we can actually keep the plants underneath the same light.
Yeah.
Whereas before we were, and let me read, we had metal highlight and then high pressure sodium. We were told to switch those bulbs up. Looking at a light meter these days and really seeing it, that metal highlight bulb would be just fine. That's why a lot of old school growers would blow with both.
Okay, I got you.
We saw that. I saw more things with the green and that red spike with the Gavita. And now we're seeing with, the Aelius Red was really that new light that changed everything.
Yeah, it really got the penetration.
It got the penetration we didn't see with anything. Like the growth that we got in the beginning, it was wow.
Yeah, and a lot of these lights are coming out, like I said, are 880.
It was too much.
It is too much.
It was too much.
Sometimes
too much.
Growing...
That's what happened. We saw this wowness and it was like too much, and then we went, okay, so little is more.
Yeah, you're right.
We dialed down these lights. What the hell just happened there? Like,
it's so true, and I don't understand. Like you said, that's our 700-watt light. If people aren't growing at 100% with their 7-watt light, how are they growing? Some of these are 1,000, 1,200-watt, 1,500-watt lights. How the heck are you're almost buying more wattage than you need. So it's almost like you're buying extra wattage that you're never going to use, unless your application calls for it. So you have a lot higher ceiling.
And I think even with the wattage, what it comes down to, what I'm looking at now, we talk about daily light intervals, PPFD, is that wattage is like the sun. And at high noon, in the summertime, I see it at 2,600 PPFD. But in the fall at 10, I see it at 900. So that wattage, just being able to dial that
Okay.
up and down. But of course, now we got high ceilings. People are growing with 15, 20-foot ceilings, and that higher wattage is to be able to get that penetration down to the floor.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And that's what we need.
Loved your test too with the spectrometer. You're testing underneath the leaf as well, too, right?
So I test underneath grapes. I test underneath the plums, apples, pears. I could tell you the difference in leaf density to sell different spectrum and different levels. It's pretty cool to actually really go down that extra rabbit hole. I'd see plants growing in the morning, 5 a.m. walk. I'd have the light meter out in the morning, watching the plant, saying, "Oh, what's going on there? And why is it curving? And why? What was that PPFD level at 5 a.m. and what was that same PPFD level at high noon in the same area?" It's pretty interesting to see, guys, and being able to put that into the light. What we talk about, we're talking with Landon and yourself. It's kind of cool because it's the curiosity and the innovation and this kind of. It's exciting.
Yeah, so you always got to be pushing that envelope.
So my second goal with the matrix was really just trying to figure out the best distance of my plants during the flower and veg. So the best percentage of light is used during those. Exactly. Yes. Looking at the matrix 630 and seeing when I figure out those best distances from the plant. It's not about the best, it's where your plant is going into the plant. So I would grow into flower. So I'd have it farther away so that PPFD level, say in the beginning of the plant, is probably around 300. And as it grew up to the 3 feet it would grow into the 700-800 PPFD that I would need. And then now at the end, I would now use the dimmer switches to dial that down, bring it back down to where it was in the beginning.
To replicate the fall.
And that's why we say more is less, because we hit it hot, but then if we bring it a little bit in the beginning and people are using the reds in the beginning and the end, we'll talk about that probably more in the future because we're seeing some things. But okay.
Well, that's a good point that he brought up as well too, because we get a lot of people that are flipping to flower and they're going from maybe 400, 500, 600 PPFD,
and then they
trying
go
to
to
hammer
12,
it with 1,000.
Then they get it to 12 PPFD. Now that went from 400 to 500 up to 1,100.
You're stressing the plant.
Boom, you got purple.
Yeah.
I saw so much light stress and light. Let me say, I thought a lot of my problems in my garden over the years had to do with nutrient problems and and basically humidity levels. Well, a lot of it had to do with light stress, too much light, not enough light, too much moisture, not enough moisture, because we were starving. Our plants need to breathe. So LEDs really helped me understand my growth so much better, understand the plant so much better, how it was able to breathe, like being on that perfect beach. Your plant wants to be on that perfect beach.
Yeah, and I guess back in the day when you had HPS, there were all these meters and readings and spectrometers, right? So you didn't have any of that.
We didn't have any of that stuff.
No,
there was no spectrometer.
No.
We had a pH meter and an EC meter.
Yeah, that's funny.
And you'd boil water to make sure it was hot enough because it was too cold in the winter. And then in the summertime, you use 2-liter bottles and you'd freeze them to bring the water temperature down. Yeah, because you don't want your roots too hot. Like when you're curing, you don't want your plants in a hot humidity. You're going to get dry, airy weed, right? Okay. These are all these little things that you learn.
All right.
People laughing. We know what we're talking about.
No, exactly. Are there any tricks of the trade that you started 30, 40 years ago that you still use today? Or has everything actually been revamped as far as your growing process goes?
No, I still hand water.
You still hand water?
Yeah, I think I've done all different waterings over the time and really understanding the plant and how it drinks. You just can't go into a room and water every plant the same. Like in reality, I mean, in commercial settings, stuff like that, there's going to be different ways, and we do different zones that dry back. You start learning on how your room runs and stuff like that. Larger facilities, guys, but most people are running the small tents and stuff like that, so it makes it a lot easier when you're running 4 plants. But in bigger facilities, I've always liked to hand water because then you start seeing where things dry out, where things happen, and then once again, I thought it was always, water, but a lot of it had to do with light.
Okay.
A lot of the problems I see, like I thought I grew powdery mildew now because I haven't grown any powdery mildew for a long time because, I got LEDs and I've understood vapor pressure deficit, but I'm 50 years old. I've been growing since I was about 15, 16 years old. And I figure for about 20 years, I grew PM because I was lowering my humidity, lowering my temperature at the end and causing powdery mildew. Fuck me. bring your temperature up. Like, I don't know. Learning VPD was really, and that's what LEDs did for me.
Okay.
It made me learn.
Okay.
It taught me more, even though I'm always learning.
You're right. And at least you're open-minded to that, right? We get a lot of growers that are open-minded, and we're trying to help them out and bring consultants like you into the grows just for that reason, right? What we're seeing is a lot of people in the industry trying to automate things. But the more you automate, you're going to get away from some things like that. Not every plant needs the same amount of water. It's a perfect example.
Well, that's the whole thing. When I started putting my Medi-Kush underneath different, that's what I did, guys. I put my plant underneath different trees in my yard. And that's how I started looking at light recipes. And that's when I started seeing things. That's what we started talking about all the time, was seeing that difference and stuff like that. And then understanding how that happened. And then when we have high pressure sodium bulb, you only got one light recipe. There's really nothing to screw with. And now I'm seeing all the deficiencies around that light.
Okay, and we're getting from commercial growers as well too. While the LEDs bring an awful lot less heat, sometimes you need that heat, right?
Well, that's something we're talking about too. Is the ambient heat on the leaf or the heat that goes through the leaf, and that's just different words.
And we're trying out some stuff with Johnny as well.
I think there's some future there.
Yeah, there's there's some nanometers that we're trying to reach that are past the far red spectrum into that 780, 800. That is the infrared, right? And
well, what you're looking at now, and what I always looked at that is because everybody knows, for me, this is medical, this is my pain, this is my medicine, this is what I'm passionate about. Well, it comes down to a lot of my medical had to do with heat, had to do with the way heat worked in the body and how it made blood flow and how do you make you feel healthier. Our outdoor plants are getting a full McAvee curve. They get the full spectrum. And when you look at a light meter, you get a little bit of blue, you get a little bit of green, and you get all red. It is just there's so much red in that sun. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, how much does red help me? I'm wearing red today just because I was at the Lift conference. I got the cookie shirt from Joseph, and and then the Bloomhouse hat, and just kind of with some red day, and then the Amsterdam, and I got my 24 karat gold bud to hang on there.
Well, speaking of Lift, do you see anything new there, or is it? It's been
a while
good
to see at Lift this year. I've been at every conference at the Trading Convention Center here in Toronto since 2010. So it's 11 years. I've gone 11 times. We missed one time. Because 2010 I did go, and we missed 2020.
Okay.
And to see the change over the last decade, like truly the difference of where we were and where we are now. Back then it was a bunch of people. We got private growers, seed companies, bunch of edible people giving edibles away and stuff like glass blowers, real grassroots. Really? Yes, it was awesome.
They're able to give edibles away.
Of course we did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was black market.
Okay.
Yeah, we were allowed to do what we wanted. This legalization stuff you can't. But I'm just saying.
Good point. Just give it away.
Yeah, no, back then it was like, well, we had the cannabis.
You can't even carry it around.
I gave away, 2 pounds of weed to all the medical patients. Yeah. And I won first place in 2011 for private grower because you know what? Out of those 300 people who were the judges, most of them were patients.
Right.
In today's age. And what we looked at is over the time, as legalization, we started getting more professional, better packaging. Things weren't coming in baggies, they weren't coming in jars. You know what I mean? More lighting came into play, more nutrient seed companies were more testing. Actually, the seed companies today are different from the seed companies before. At least before we had testing. Now people grab a seed, they do a genetic, they throw it out there and say, here's my new company.
Well, here's a problem that we come across.
You haven't spent years running those seeds, but I'm not going to get into that right now.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody we talk to has the best genetics. Like, how do you really know? Like, how do you?
Well, then we talk about, I feel about genetics and stuff like that. Like a lot of old school genetics, a lot of new stuff coming in. A lot of stuff that I call, women weed doesn't really work for my medical condition. It's tasty, it's flavorful. You're going to find a strain that works for you, stay with it. If you got that flavor that you like, then that's what you really want. The names, I mean, it's hard. Wedding cake, wedding crasher.
It's hard
wedding
to keep
time,
track of
wedding
sure.
Then, wedding now. I don't know. Hey, let's make a new strain. Wedding today.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying, because I got some cake and I got all these strains, but I mean, what do I truly like? It's the terpenes. It's those flavors. And that's where the game changed with LEDs.
Okay.
Truly. And we're seeing that in our washes. I talk to people who make bubble hashes from Vansman, from High Integrity, so I'm saying a bunch of names out there, but there's a lot of guys that I know I've been talking to who make a lot of different solvent extractions, and they're seeing the difference with LEDs. They straight up told me, yeah, I'm seeing better yields, and I'm seeing better, and my COAs prove better terpenes.
Okay.
In my opinion, but that's what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from other people.
Now, how do you get that through the legal market? Because Health Canada is forcing producers to eradicate all this
bullshit.
stuff.
So here's the whole thing. So I know in BC, I'll just say names to make it. So there's two companies that sell very well in.
You're in Ontario, so
yeah, I'm in the Ontario, so in the BC cannabis stores. So I went around to Abbotsford, and I went up to Chilliwack, and went to Langley, and asked a couple of the main managers, that, what sells? They're like, well, actually, we like these two companies. One was Broken Coast, the other one's Quest. I can tell you right now that both those companies use LEDs. Okay.
Yep.
I can also tell you another thing, that both those companies use humidity control in the back end. So we're looking at terpenes are controlled with your water activity, and growing with LEDs is saving those terps. And being able to control your water activity in your cannabis for the end users getting a proper standardized controlled flavor.
Okay.
Sign me up.
They're still there. Everybody's using that eradication.
But they're not, right? Okay. So when I go into a legal store, I believe it should say on there, if it has a company, what was it grown with? LED, sun grown, or HPS?
Yeah, I really like that.
I would like to see that because I'm seeing the flavors. Now, sun grown resin, then why are LEDs coming number 2? Well, because it's the closest to the sun.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer.
Most intense and most mimicking. You're right. And
right.
They do shave some time off your flower.
And we're also seeing with LEDs, with that red, we're coming down a couple days sooner. Not weeks. Okay, you're not going to get that. No. But if you're getting 2 or 3 days from a crop and you're doing 4 a year, that's 12 days. You want to do some math on that?
Yeah, that adds up. 100%, especially if the bottom line is a number.
Well, when we come down to the bigger corporations, you're looking at that and actually running your LEDs, because for one, you're not replacing your bulbs every couple crops, twice a year. Okay.
What is it? I've heard people keep the bulb for like 2 years.
I got guys that use bulbs for 8 years. They degrade like shit, and you can see how they're working. And it's interesting because those are the gardens that I took a look at and go, what's going on in these gardens? There's no power behind that bulb.
No.
Right? Different light recipe.
That too. It's
that I followed.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I know you showed me some of those spectrums.
I've seen some different spectrums. You lose a lot of that. I can say I don't have my phone on me. I can show you all the different lights that I've tested and stuff like that, because I left my phone in the car. But I actually have a light meter, and that shows all the lights that I've been testing and all the different times in the sun, different seasons, in the fall, in the spring, you start looking and paying attention to how light works and how plants are actually using the light in a sense, because the light is food.
Yeah, I hear it.
Right. And now that we're using LEDs, the plants are eating more because they're healthier.
Well, that's the other thing too. So you can grow a little bit more if you're a power grower and you do want that 1,000 or 1,100. As long as you keep up with all the variables, that plant should keep up, correct?
If you got your CO2 level sitting properly, you got your VPD set properly, and you're giving it enough food with enough light, you're fucking killing it. But once again, you got a Ferrari light, you're giving it leaded gas, and you're parking it outside, not in a heated garage. What do you expect when you get up in the wintertime to start your car and it doesn't run properly? That's what you're doing to your garden. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
No, you're right. There's been growers, who are talking about where they've been growing in the basement, and they're wondering why they're growing in the basement. It's not doing as good as the grow on the second floor, right? Because it's colder in the basement.
And we talked about 2 different floors.
Yeah,
the bottom floor is doing better than the upper floor. Really?
Yeah. So
we got bigger yields down here. Oh, that makes sense.
So it all adds up, and there's a lot more variables that go into it than just one, and you got to make sure those are in tune all the way through the grow. The industry itself, you see it getting away from the dry flower, or dry flower always be king?
Everybody likes to smoke a joint.
Yeah,
it's more
pre-rolls,
communal, right? COVID's different now because you can't share a joint, but you can still roll up 3 and give one away to somebody, sit there and talk to it. Medical, I see it's a way of life. You're rolling the joint, you're licking it, you're sitting back, you're relaxing. You're just not.
So it's like a cigar, having a cigar, you're rolling it, you're sniffing it.
And that's that relaxing at night. But like with me, and I'm out doing something, I'm in a lot of pain. I have a pen.
Okay. Right.
Normally I have a little dab rig, depending, because I destroy pens. If you guys know who I am, Mark was I destroy pens.
Yeah.
I kill them all. I pull them apart in house church, rip these things apart, looked at them. You'll see some episodes. We talk about all these different pens. I mean, yeah, you'll get them. Believe me, you'll chuck them away sooner or later too, right? Because we used to put our little concentrates in them, burn out the coils, this, that. But now we have all these new cartridges. And now we have solventless cartridges coming out. We have different companies coming out with all these different ways of being able to actually properly inhale cannabis for our conditions. So with all these vape cartridges and vape pens, and I know with the legal market right now, I think there's a lot of weed that is old. So when you buy some cannabis from your local cannabis store and they bring out the package, before you open it and leave the store, flip it upside down and take a look at the date on it. If it was packaged 2 years ago, say, can I return this before I even walk out your store? I don't want 2-year-old weed.
Oh, yeah. So on the package itself,
it will give a date on when it was packaged.
Good.
But it has no expiry date. Remember that.
Which is false.
Which is false. Because I know if I leave weed in a container for 1 year and I leave weed in a container for 1 week, one's going to taste really nice and fresh. It's going to look great. And a year later, it's going to be degraded.
So it's not like wine. It's not getting better.
Well, depending.
Yeah.
Certain terpenes are going to cure better, and you're going to get that flavor that you're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
It's aromatherapy, and we don't know what's going on because there's so many different terpenes to every different plant. Some of them are volatile, they're degrading, they're breaking down other terpenes, they're changing the chemistry of the plant or the flavor, breaking down seals because they got rubber seals or glue on the top, and you're wondering, oh shit, Health Canada.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. You know what? I love the industry, but I mean,
yeah,
like,
they just gotta get out of the way. And I know that their next review is 2023. That's next year and a half
coming
away.
up.
It's coming.
You know what? I mean,
It's,
what we're seeing now with this industry, and as we're just moving forward, LEDs are the future, 100%. That is all changing. Do you still have your 8-track? Anybody? Tape cassette?
Yeah.
Cutting yourself a tape today, you got the.
Yeah, it was very good. That's a very good comparison,
right? Because I used to get up in 1986, and that Sean would come on the radio, and be like, hit record.
Or you get the radio, you just want the radio guy to shut up
because shut up
right to your song.
Then you had the DVD, the CD. That was awesome. Yeah. Then it came out those little micro discs. Remember those micro discs that came out for like a flash second? Yeah. That's kind of what happened with the CMHs, right? So Metal Highlight just came out for that little blip. Okay. Because they're gone.
Yeah.
Right? And the Metal Highlight was around for a while, and then HPS came out, but then all of a sudden digital came into play. Do you think anybody's changing?
Maybe.
You're changing from digital? You're going back to your
No, you're not going back.
Okay, so digital is LED.
Maybe to an LP. I'd go back to an LP for a night or something.
But nice. The new age, the new lighting it's the digital age. It's just like you're not it's not like it's there, it's now, and now that we're able to start tuning in our light recipes, and we're going to come to that. We'll start talking about those different light recipes for different strains. You have that 24-week Black Colombian sativa. Yeah, hey, maybe we have that light recipe specifically for you. That 8-track for life. I know. I don't even know if I have one anymore. I was looking for one. I was like, I could find an 8-track for this thing. People laugh. But...
Well, with the problem we're seeing with this market is when growers get asked to help out with a micro or an LP. Remember, they've been growing with HPS for 30, 40 years, so they don't want to go to a new tech, right, with a new car.
But we don't know how.
They don't know how. So they're going to go with what they know.
I got this 1967 Camaro, and I got my tools in the back. What happened? No problem. I got it. Then they put you into a Ferrari, and they give you a toolkit, and it breaks down.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well, they know what they can get. They know how much grams per square foot they're going to get, so they don't want to ruin that. So it takes time. There's a learning curve.
Yeah, but the whole thing is my 68 Camaro does really good. And it gets off the line the quarter mile.
And you know what it's going to do.
That fucking Ferrari, excuse my language, is doing it in 5 seconmes, and my Camaro does it in 8.2. My Camaro's awesome.
It takes
that Ferrari.
It takes an open mind for sure. And 100%, they will eventually all change, if not forced to change, like in some states.
I don't think it's a forced change. I think you get to a point is it's affordability too, and we know 100%. That. And I know there's a lot of things going on with LEDs, and I know what's happening in the industry. So I mean, you just got to be patient, and you got to keep looking.
Yep.
And the companies come and go. We know that. Brands, companies that have the innovation, the ones that are just digging in and never wanting to stop. Well, those are the ones that I kind of.
No, 100%. You can tell the difference, right? Right now, there's about a dime a dozen LED light companies out there. If you're
Well,
on
people are going to
LinkedIn
say
or
that. They go, what
whatnot.
about all these other LED light companies? Because I get asked this question. I'm like, okay. What do you, and I got asked this at Lyft. They go, look at all these lights. What do you think is the best one? I'm like, well, I haven't seen it. And they pull this little piece of paper and they go, well, look at the light recipe. I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay. It's basic. The other ones out there.
Yeah.
It's got no real red in there. It's not doing anything different.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to be innovative. You're not trying to push that angle. You're just copying somebody else's single here. That's not Aelius, and I see that.
No, 100%. We love working with guys like yourself.
That's why I'm sitting here and I've been able to really get involved with the lighting. And like I'm saying,
well, so much to the point he started writing a book as well. Right?
Yeah, I did that, but I mean,
getting closer.
This is the new light. Smell that. We have to open it.
Wow,
up.
it's crazy. Yeah. Jesus, that's nice. That's what the 780.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but I thought I had powdery mildew on this weed when I was talking with my. I was like, shit, something's going on here. I got a problem. Like, and then we pulled out the meat, then we pulled out the loop and stuff like that. And really, this is what we did at Lyft.
What is that?
Oh, you know, like this.
Magnifying glass? No kidding.
So now you can start looking at a lot of this stuff.
I need my glasses for the magnifying glass.
There you go. This one's the red totally. So you'll see the difference. You get right up close to it. And this is what we're talking about. When you actually look and see.
I'm just looking for the terpenes because I'm colorblind. So the red and the blue and the purple, whatever else is on there, I'm not going to see it.
You ain't going to see no red or purple.
Sorry.
No.
No.
So the best thing about it is like when we start looking at the different terpenes, we start talking about the different flavors. So all of these strains, all right, every single one of these, you can see, you can smell each one. Everyone is done with your light. And I know, for someone who is not used to terpenes, and when you start smelling all these different flavors.
Wait, so how much are you allowed to carry on the plane with you?
Me?
Is it 30?
I can carry 150 grams. 150? Me.
So the general public right now, if they didn't have a medical license,
30.
Okay. And they don't ask any questions. They ask questions. They need to see your license.
I've had people who get in all kinds of problems. I've had lots of problems. I've been arrested. I've been charged. I've been in airports. Oh, yeah.
Even during
the day of legalization, I was on the front page of every newspaper across North America with a neck brace on, and they pulled me up the trunk. We got one over here. I'm like, my picture's right there on the newspaper. And they brought the cops over as I pulled up my license plate. I'm fine, right? That was then. This is now.
The first day.
This is now. Things have completely changed with legalization and stuff like that. And we know, like, cannabis is legal. People aren't walking around with very big bags of weed. And if you want to ship 20 pounds in the mail, you might lose some of it. But I mean, 30 grams. I do this all the time, guys. I put a couple grams in a meditainer and ship it off to a friend.
And
happy birthday. Merry Christmas.
Jesse James. Yeah, there's an Aelius fan member there.
150 plus 30 grams for Rex. I can carry a total 180.
Oh, you can carry.
I got an extra 30, Jesse. That's awesome. I know.
See? I got paid off coming here.
So I got my 4 outside, and beside there's the other legal parts. Yeah. So
okay.
You know, with legalization, guys, honestly, if you want to grow your own medicine for yourself, grow it. I don't think
learn the ropes.
Problems.
Learn the ropes. What do you think it costs to set up your own tent, your 4-plant system?
I can set up a 4-plant system for under $1,000
without the light, or I guess with
everything,
with a lower wattage light. Yeah,
with everything. You can go buy a light for $700-800, and then you can, I don't know, put in the corner of your room and go buy 2 pots. And
you don't need an actual tent; just put it in a room with ventilation.
You know, you sit in your kitchen and you see your plants grow in your kitchen, right? They do pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did that in the spring and in the fall in your kitchen, when the light changes, say around,
true,
Halloween, you're gonna get some buds.
Yeah.
Now the whole thing is you're not gonna get a big yield and not gonna have that because it's about light PPFD, and your PPFD coming to your window is probably around 50. How I've measured this like crazy. Going through the glass, you're losing about 30-40%. We had old air-cooled shades, and if I had a light meter back then, I would see the difference, like totally. And it's really good to be able to see that now, and that's what LED lights has been able to teach me and a lot of other people please check out my channel. I'm 420 Weed Master on YouTube, and I just did a video on LEDs, talked about growing with different PPFD levels for cloning, and how I torched some plants when I had high PPFD levels at say 500 on top of the plant. And you see the ones that did the best were the ones between 175 and 210. So, and that was the measurement that I took outside.
Okay.
In the AMs in the morning when that sun just first cracked.
Okay.
Not far away in the spring.
Right.
Because that's what I'm watching right now, right?
No,
that's what's telling us outside. That sun's kind of king, saying it's been around since before.
It's natural.
We know.
Yeah. It should be around after us.
Yeah, so it's kind of doing its thing up there, and I've been kind of trying to pay attention to what the sun's doing by what Aelius is allowed. That's what I mean. You guys are able to give it the light recipes, and the sun's kind of telling me what I can do with those light recipes in a sense.
Yeah, and a lot of even supplemental lighting, we're seeing a lot of greenhouses that think they can just put it in the greenhouse and let it go, but it's not the case.
Did you show me a new light?
Yeah, I lifted it up for a bit. We'll do it again in a second, but
go to my Instagram.
Hey, you know who else is
just saying.
Not many people use the term DLI, so that's daily light integral, right?
Daily light
integrals, yeah. So not many people use it, but I think it is going to become more commonly known.
You need to know,
especially in a greenhouse setting, right? Because you can give it too much or not enough.
Well, this is the biggest thing is like with light deprivation, all these greenhouse. I've never really understood light until LEDs came into my life.
I didn't have to,
hang them.
Right? Yeah.
Woo,
you're taught to just put it under this HPS.
What's wrong with the plant? You got to add more calcium, more magnesium. Oh, you overwater. You did this, that. Yeah. Here I am, 40 years later, still growing out, and what a light. Fuck. I said to so many people, so many of my friends growers. So I even talked about my really good friend Carrie. We're sitting in the room and going, fucking Christmas room. We're sitting there going, fucking look at the problems we had because of the fucking light. And there's another guy who's been growing 40 years, and he's like, dude, I can't believe the difference. I've been growing so many problems because of that damn fucking bulb.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Because we learned it. We learned vapor pressure deficit because of LEDs. Even though all you greenhouse guys are laughing at us, now, well, we're just a bunch of, gray area plant growers. The gray area and the black market is actually the medical market, just saying. So,
well, they got a pretty neat, again, this is getting back to technology, and a lot of things are getting automated and whatnot, but some of these sensors are really awesome, especially the daily light integrals sensors. They'll actually put a sensor every 100 square feet in the greenhouse, and it will calculate how much light is actually coming in for the day, and it'll stay on longer, or they'll go off quicker.
So this way they're getting the exact amount of PPFD that they need throughout the day. So this way they're getting there between. See, cannabis, what was I hitting my plants at when they were doing so well that when I first got Aelius? You guys were on my channels. 60s? Yeah, 69?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was 69, 74. Yeah, plants, cannabis goes between my seeds are between 15 and 21. My veg is between 21 to 30, and my flower is between 30 to 40. And then when I do the last 2 weeks of flower, I drop it back down again.
Okay.
And that's what you're seeing because that's what happened outside. We talked that with Ramo. Basically, less is more in the end.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So again, we have 880 watt light. There's 1500 watt lights out there, but at the same time, you gotta, for all the variables are there. But
if you understand how to use the light, then you want that high wattage.
Then you can actually
work it.
Yeah.
Then you understand it. And then once again, different light recipes for different strains. Boom. This is I need knowledge on DLI. Jesse learned daily light intervals, DLL calculator. It is huge. Understand a DLI calculator and understand how to actually measure light in your room. Because once you start measuring light in your room, guys, sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's amazing how many commercial growers aren't using par meters or those sensors because they come from the old school where you put this light up from start to finish. This thing's going to flower in 9 weeks. That's it. And
they don't work that way.
I know.
No, it don't work that way.
No,
I don't. And when I first got my Mars Hydro, I had the same thing. Plugging in, I was getting purple stock. I'd like add more calcium. So I did. That didn't fucking work. No, it was having the light 12 inches off of it. So I moved it up to 3 feet. I got a light meter. I was like, Oprah went away.
Yeah.
Because we thought more light would give us more yields. Wrong.
Yeah, and again, we're always trying to test different spectrums and whatnot.
We're learning.
You've even tried some UVs, right? How do you feel about the UV in light spectrum.
Well, here's the whole thing. So I believe that the UVC and UVB was helping with triclone production. But once again, hypothesis. The COAs didn't prove that, and we're seeing that with different lights.
That's right. You did some of those as well. That's
yeah.
right.
So I was just looking at different things. So I've been looking at light, you guys, for a very, very long time. I have videos in 2015 on lights.
Some blurples.
Huh?
Some blurples.
Yeah, little blurples. I don't know. And we talked about different lights. I had my PAR meter back then, so I was measuring PAR. I had no idea about spectrum. Mind you, didn't have much money to buy a spectrum meter back then either.
Yeah, they're not cheap, like you said, the LEDs and whatnot, and that's part of what we're trying to do too, is alleviate that with the financing options. We just got to be careful with some commercial.
Well, here's the thing: people say LEDs are too expensive. Okay, so I went and bought a dual end Gavita. It's $500. I bought the bulb; it was $150, and I had to buy 2 more bulbs that year, and my power went up. We'll say $100.
Fair enough.
So how much did you really save? Oh, did I tell you that LED lights got a warranty for how long, Ron?
5 years.
5
Most of them are 5 years. You want to get the
Okay, wait a second here. So now you have a warranty on a light for 5 years. You don't have to change the bulb. And I saved how much in my power? By the way, my hydro bill used to be $1,400, $1,200, $1,300 a month. I showed land on my hydro bill there last month. $330, $416, $510. It all adds up, guys.
Especially when the product is
right. Because now that I'm able to actually my room, because I was able to dial down my heat, my HVAC isn't working as hard. All these little things were changing, and my yields went up. My weed got better.
You got more.
Smells pretty good.
Grows.
The terpenes were better.
Right.
And look at how happy I am. I mean, like it's just that a lot. I mean, I know what the plant gives me. It gives me great energy, and it's really taught me a lot. So I'm fattening out my buzz, and I'm trimming down my weight.
Yeah, it worked 100%. 72 pounds, you said?
I lost 72 pounds in the last year.
Well, congratulations there too.
And it was I did it with with Aelius, in a sense. It was kind of part of the growing future, and I was like, I need to get healthy, like my plants are getting healthy now, because I wasn't healthy for a while.
Fair enough.
And that was COVID.
Yeah,
no one was healthy.
You know what?
And it was the COVID that drew us, and we got eating. We're like, what's going on here? But I got stuck in a grow room during COVID, and we started the 42 Grow Crew across Canada, and we had lots of people from 710 Canuck, Tara Lee, and I could keep going on for so many names, so I'm going to miss most, Stutter, Jay, Paul, Mark, everybody. But all these guys all started getting into LEDs too. We have a lot of them, and they started growing, and they started seeing the difference. Now they're making hash, and they're seeing the difference in their terpenes and stuff like that. And it's great to just see how this is changing. So.
Right. And the industry as a whole is still in its infancy when you think about it. What's happened the past 2.5 years, 3 years with the larger LPs who went out of the gate really big. Obviously, they're pulling back and they're losing money. Is there any hope for them? If you were a CEO of one of these big companies, what would be your playbook right now?
I'm a CEO of a large cannabis company.
Yes.
Huge.
You got unlimited resources.
Yeah, you got $300 million, and you've lost $160 million of other people's
or billions.
Money.
Yeah, not their money, right?
That's not their money.
Investors.
It's really investments.
Funds. Yeah,
it's called people investing into you, and you get to spend their money, and hopefully you bring up.
It didn't work out. Sorry.
Didn't work out. Sorry, and then a bunch of CEOs they went up leaving, and then someone else takes over the company
after their bonus.
After their bonuses and whatever. Yeah. But a lot of these guys, they might have some good intent, bad mindset, but he's got a positive intent. No matter what you're doing, it's a positive. They're trying to build this company, trying to get things going, trying to get things. Their mindset was, well, we got to do this big. And in reality, all they did was they pumped and dumped the company. And we're seeing a lot of big changes. We're seeing more changes with the craft, with the micro. We're seeing, once again, 300-400 light rooms just don't really grow good weed.
No.
They don't. Right? So you see these larger facilities are now scaling down to smaller rooms, getting better quality. We're getting more for sure. We're seeing the passion coming in the industry, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's what I felt like. Gotta do.
What we saw in the very beginning was all the roots, and then you saw a lot of just big business. Called them sharks came in.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're looking at the bottom line.
Same thing, right? So everybody's got the bottom line, but that's fine. But then we had a lot of big innovations come out of that. Look at the facilities that are being built. Look at nanoemulsification. Huh. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my friends aren't having $1 million facilities in their basements and like ripping this triclone apart so it absorbs, and I get really good relief from my pain. On these balance drinks, I love them. On some of these edibles, we always complain that 10 milligrams wasn't enough. Well, then you got the throat lozenges, you got the little mints, and you got this, that, and you spike it with this, and you do a dab of that.
I know you've tried out a lot of this stuff as well.
Everything.
Too.
I really want to know what
you are growing yourself medicinally, and a lot of viewers are, and a lot of our customers are growing for themselves. The cost at the stores versus the cost that it takes you to make, how does that compare?
This bag of legal weed.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it costs about $600.
Okay.
And it probably cost me about $50 to grow it.
Really? So not taking into consideration your time or whatnot, but most of the time you're just sitting there.
Oh, but wait a second. People say, well, look at my time. I know. It gave me good energy. It made me feel good. It got me to a garden doing something I really enjoy.
Oh.
Right? It got me away from things. And it gave me consistency. It gave me something that I'm achieving every day. And I get a goal. I see a growth. I get positive from it. It makes me feel better.
I gotcha.
Growing got me out of bed.
That makes sense. You talk to a lot of people.
This is
gardens.
So
like
medicinal. It gives you a quality of life that, and some people are, I hate growing. Well, that's because you do it for money.
Good point.
Because you lose sometimes.
Good
but
point.
when you're growing for yourself for medicine and you're achieving something, you get those results. And I don't care who you are. I got guys that brought me some killer weed. And to them, it's their killer weed. It's their something first girls, and it's their killer weed.
They're proud of it.
Damn right they are. Yeah. You know what that gives you for your own self-esteem, your own build?
When somebody
the best thing about life is growth. And I say it to everybody, not everybody can grow, John, but you're not growing your life. You're not getting up and growing every day.
It should be.
Growth is awesome. And growing your own cannabis, you got to grow your life. You do it yourself. You grow every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, cannabis gave me that growth. It gives me that excitement, the curiosity, the new strains, that new innovations, the new lights, that new this, that flavors. Like every 3 months, it's like, wow. And then I get to do it again and again. and you get, it's always curious.
You like sharing it as well too.
Yeah, and then you got these awesome lights. Check that out.
You've tried the clone lights, right?
You've had the first, yeah.
You're one of the first ones.
See this here?
Yeah,
with the zap strap.
Not like that anymore. Okay.
Well, when you buy all those cloning lights, you got nowhere to put them. Yeah, look at this little thing here. Yeah, simple zap strap. Yeah.
All right, gotcha. But you're finding them working.
I like the 6500 Kelvin. It give me tighter internode spacing. I did some videos on this and talked about that. I wouldn't be doing long veg with these. A couple weeks max. You're gonna see nice tights. And
you're vegging with this too.
I'm using these for clones.
Clones, yeah. So you wouldn't do long clones with them.
That's 2 weeks. That's what I call clone.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Veg. Then I'd put these would root, but in reality, when this roots with this light, I like to leave it on this light for another week or two because I'm getting it tighter in a smaller. And then if you want to throw underneath the red and then pull it out, that's the greenhouse. I was pointing out something else. Me and Ryan are gonna talk about some cool stuff after this because he's like thinking, and I'm like, I got some ideas.
Yeah. Well, we're always toying, and guys like yourself, Johnny, we rely on it, and we're not.
We rely on you guys to give us the lights that we need, and you're actually showing us
we're listening, right?
Different way of how to understand the plant now with light recipes.
Yeah, and that's important in this industry. You can't come in with a closed mind. You can't say I know it all. You have to be, because you don't know it all. It's like a golf swing. You're never going to perfect your golf swing, but you can always constantly continue to learn. It doesn't matter anything in life. Like you said, you got to be growing.
What did Bruce Lee say? He goes, I don't fear a man that can kick 1,000 times. I fear the man that can kick 1,000 kicks at the same time. Right? So, I mean, there's thousands of people out there growing, but I mean, the guy that's going out there growing consistently in all the different gardens, doing the same thing over and over, I mean, that's the guy that's doing it.
And they're going to be the winners down the road once all the dust settles in this legal industry.
So, I mean, it's kind of like anybody can kick, but I mean, how many people can truly grow?
Right. Off topic here, have you heard back from Abbotsford and how things are going over there? Are they getting more rain?
So we got 8 feet of less water in the last couple of days, but I got all these messages on my phone. We have some major rainstorm coming in. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people.
I'm amazing neighbors.
I was going to say, do you know a lot of people that are helping you
Mike
out
and
right
Hetty,
now?
I love you guys. Thank you. and some good friends, and you know what, some good people. That's one thing about the city of Abbotsford. Everybody's helping out and giving each other a hand. Like, we got to do the best we can, and that's what you got to do in life. You see someone having trouble, struggling, help them.
Well,
If
and
they have a problem in their garden.
okay,
give
so
them
I
a
haven't seen
hand.
it. I haven't seen it on TV or anything like that yet. But there's no looting or anything. Everybody's coming together and they're trying to help each other.
Basically, if you get into a boat, you're going to get a $5,000 fine.
do you
There was a
mean?
couple looters in the beginning. They don't want there's a lot of kids getting in canoes and boats and going out.
Okay.
Now, if you see you in a boat, now you get a 5,000. There's Hetty right there. She's got the big smile. Like, I love
That's your
those
neighbor?
people. That's my neighbor. Personal assistant, everything. Hetty. If you get an email from somebody because you're having a medtainer problem or something with a company, it probably comes from Hetty. Yeah, she's probably the one.
There you go.
And if it got packed, it's probably Mike. And if someone answers the phone, that would be me.
All right, medtainers, are you still selling those a lot, or
you know what? I'm
really
more
pushing them?
information on the industry, of course. Medtainercanada.com. You can definitely get containers from there. We have $10 containers till Christmas or until whenever we run out of them, because I'm just kind of blowing out all the old inventory, all that stuff that you'll never see again before they become collector's items. Check us out there. I put a lot of focus into my growing with Aelius.
right?
I think the last couple of years has been really learning and understanding truly how I'm able to actually just get better medicine.
Well,
Yeah.
again, at the end of the day, that's
Medtainers keeps it
what
safe
this is
on the
for.
go. You know, it's a great part. But I'm always going to be growing.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of medtainers if you need one.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
we'll do
if you want to
something-
learn about lights, like, really, you can direct message me.
Yeah.
100%. What I've learned, you can go to my YouTube channel. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So 420 Weedmaster. John Berfelo. You just Google me. You'll find my name. And send me a direct message. And if I can help you in any way, or if the Aelius team can help us, I know we just want to help you grow.
You want to finish? You're going to finish off that book or fine tune it?
It's actually
Actually-
with a publisher, an editor right now.
Nice.
Understanding LEDs, the growing futures. Actually, I'm going to shout him out, Brian, Mr. Pito. So there's Brian, Mr. Cookie. I'm in your hometown here, Sudbury. He's cracking up some new beans right now, but actually talked with Jeremiah from Cannabis Culture, and he's been kind of overseeing, looking at it, making sure that it's edited properly, and then we're going to move it on to the publishing part. Hopefully.
Awesome. Well, good for you. So hopefully by the end of next year, maybe.
Yeah, TY 2011. Yeah,
Oh,
everybody's
geez.
still using those. See, 2012.
They last forever.
I gave everybody a bunch of medtainers back then, and it's kind of like the lights. You know what I mean?
They do last a long time.
They last a long time, but at the same time, there's always something new
You
coming
have
up.
to. You have to be, like you said, the perfect way. You wake up in the morning, you got to be growing or learning.
You got to
Else you're
be
just gonna
learning
be-
and growing. That's how I get. I get up every morning. I do my morning walk. I go to my plants. It says in my gun, feed your plants with food. Light up the world with LEDs.
Yeah.
Grow your life. That's what it is. Grow your life. That's about it.
There, in the end, drop the mic. That's
Drop
it,
the mic.
right?
Boom, I'm out of here.
That's a good way to end it. So, Johnny, appreciate it very much, and it was definitely worth the extra week that we knew you were coming up. So we wanted
And the
you to be
flood,
here.
everything that happened, there's a
For
lot
a
of stuff
reason.
happening in life, and it was kind of like this. I appreciate you guys waiting for the week, and then I get to sit here with you guys.
Maybe we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it again.
I'm coming back.
Absolutely. So this will end our 3-part series. I'm sure marketing will put something together, but whether it's at the end of this year or early next year, we're always continuously trying to improve your education in this industry with guys like Johnny. So if there is something that you would like to see in the next vlog series, absolutely let us know. And remember to ask yourself, what's above your plants? Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks. Awesome.